Attack on Titan boasted a compelling story, intricate characters, and a build-up spanning years, creating heightened anticipation for the series' climax. However, a lot of your disappointment peaked with the release of the final chapter. Although I personally like the ending, for the sake of speculation, let's consider a scenario where chapters 138 and 139 were never published. What if Eren Yeager successfully accomplished his mission to annihilate humanity through the rumbling in the year 854, and he had never died? We have three distinct scenarios for you, and in each of the first two, Eren successfully completes the rumbling. The third one is the bonus scenario and is the craziest out of all, so stick around for that because the rumbling is coming to the real world in the third scenario. Okay, so to understand these three scenarios, let's rewind to the beginning for context. Eren, as a young boy, witnessed his mother being devoured by a Titan, sparking an intense hatred for them. His determination to eradicate all Titans and achieve freedom for his people stemmed from his traumatic experience. Facing prejudice as an Eldian, Eren's ultimate goal was freedom, but as long as those who mistreated his people existed, true freedom remained elusive. Going back a few hundred years, the concept of the rumbling was introduced by King Karl Fritz as a defensive measure to safeguard Paradise Island. The rumbling involved unleashing Titans within the walls to destroy any potential threats. However, King Fritz refrained from initiating it unless Paradise was under a direct attack. After inheriting the founding Titan, Eren gained the ability to control all Titans. He chose to trigger the rumbling, forcing Eldians and their enemies to unite against this common threat and potentially mend their strained relationships. Executing the ultimate plan, Eren, in his founding Titan form, led an army of colossal Titans to Marley, obliterating approximately 80% of the world. Despite pleas from his friends to halt the destruction, Eren asserted his determination to continue. He explained that he aimed to claim the world's freedom for himself, but he assured the Alliance that their freedom would not be compromised. Faced with no other option, Mikasa, understanding the gravity of the situation, located Eren's vulnerable point and beheaded him, ending both the rumbling and the era of Titans. This act marked the culmination of Mikasa's difficult choice and severed the hold over the founding Titan, concluding a tumultuous chapter in the Attack on Titan saga. Now let's move on to what would have happened if Eren had succeeded with our first scenario. With the entire world population eradicated by the Titans, Eren returns to Paradise and lives out his remaining 4 years. However, without external threats, a civil war erupts among the island's inhabitants. The absence of external enemies leads to internal strife, and the united group fractures into warring factions vying for power. This internal conflict jeopardizes the hard-won freedom and plunges Paradise into a period of war. Compounding the issues, Eren's unstable leadership exacerbates the situation. His impulsive decisions and lack of strategic thinking sow discord among his followers, causing many to question his ability to lead. Whether seen as a visionary or a lunatic, Eren faces either imprisonment or being hailed as a god who destroyed the world. Nevertheless, these distinctions become inconsequential as Paradise teeters on the brink of collapse. The Titan's destruction of the world has severe consequences. Environmental disasters unfold globally, with wildfires consuming millions of forests and causing widespread damage. Simultaneously, the constant force exerted on the Earth's surface leads to seismic disturbances and earthquakes, further destabilizing the fragile ecosystem. Polluted water sources, tainted with debris and toxins, become lethal, making consumption impossible. Additionally, the accumulation of dead bodies spawns diseases that threaten the remaining population. Inevitably, these cataclysmic events culminate in the demise of all life. The Titans, initially perceived as a means to freedom and unity, resulted in a devastating and disappointing end. Eren, having traveled the desolate planet in his Titan form until his death, witnesses the final moments of a world destroyed. The last human on a barren Earth, life wiped out entirely, brings a somber and disheartening conclusion to the once hopeful narrative of the rumbling. Yeah, sad, right? So, now let's shift our attention to a less sad ending. The second scenario. In this alternate scenario where Mikasa fails to stop Eren and the rumbling proceeds, a different outcome unfolds. After the rumbling, Eren regenerates fully within his Titan, haunted by the magnitude of the destruction he caused. Overwhelmed by guilt and shock, he connects with objects symbolizing each of his friends and buries them under a tree upon returning to Paradise. Amir, a manifestation of Eren's guilt and remorse, reveals herself to him before disappearing and reincarnating into Historia's child, seeking a life of freedom. As time passes, paths fall, leaving Eren as the last Titan shifter. He settles into Shiganshina, witnessing the rebuilding of Paradise. Despite finding some solace in the safety of Paradise and gaining his freedom, Eren battles extreme depression, haunted by the memories of those he killed. Visiting his friends' graves regularly, Eren contemplates suicide as a means to reunite with them, but decides against it, feeling the need to endure punishment for his sins. Depressed and living a grim life, he secretly meets Historia's child, realizing the child represents true freedom. Holding the child, Eren acknowledges that the suffering and death were not in vain, as this child, and all others born after the rumbling, experience true freedom. A rebuilding effort commences, leading to nationalistic sentiments and a renamed Paradise. With the ability to colonize the world and utilize natural resources without competition, Paradise thrives. The curse of Ymir is dispelled, allowing Eren to live without a time limit. However, challenges persist, including inadequate healthcare systems, leaving survivors to grapple with health problems. The island's infrastructure decline results in slow, painful deaths for the wounded and sick. Despite the accomplishments, many, especially the Eldians, live with regret and trauma over the mass extinction. Eren, burdened by guilt, accepts his decision. The Marleyans abandon the search for Eren, focusing on creating a stable government. In the end, Eren achieves his lifelong goal, granting freedom to his people, albeit with the lingering shadows of the catastrophic events and their aftermath. That's all for the second scenario. Now it's time for our third scenario. Imagine if the whole Titan rumbling thing actually happened in real life. Do you think the world as we know it could stop it? Do you think humanity has what it takes to defeat those massive Titans? So I did some digging and found some cool information. To get an idea of how crazy it would be, you have to know the strengths, abilities, and weaknesses of both sides. Titans might be huge, but humans pack a punch. In the 90s, even though humans would be way smaller than Titans and we wouldn't have these omnidirectional mobility gears making us Spider-Man or humans with the power to turn into Titans, we would make up for it with firepower. In World War II, the war brought a tech boom like never before. If the rumbling came before the world wars, they would totally annihilate us. There's no way Vikings or Genghis Khan's army would beat them. But if they came after the Second World War, things would be totally different. Back in the old wars, countries were stuck with artillery, battleships, tanks, and machine guns until they stumbled upon the atomic bomb in 1938. Now, in the show, the global military is totally helpless against the Wall Titans. They tried everything, shooting from battleships, blasting from the land with artillery, and even dropping bombs from planes. But they could only manage to kill a few Titans. The series is set somewhere between the 1920s and 1930s, so it's cool to think that humanity got nuclear power just in time before Eren decided to take a nap. Whew, lucky break, right? Fans estimate that there are about 600,000 Wall Titans, each standing around 50 meters tall and 12.5 meters wide. According to analysis, they zoom at about 50 kilometers an hour, making them super fast. So even if we drop a bomb big enough to wipe out 50,000 Titans with a 10-kilometer radius, we'd still have 550,000 left. Not to mention the loss of human life in dropping bombs and also making the ground uninhabitable for years to come. If the rumbling ever actually happened in real life, what would be the ideal strategy to stop this with our available weapons? Well, it is going to be an impossible mission to physically get close enough to Eren because of the high heat that the Founding Titan produces and the White Titans called Warriors that Eren uses. The only option is to drop a nuclear bomb directly on Eren's location in the Founding Titan's body. Simple enough, right? If Attack on Titan had a separate ending where Eren succeeded in its mission to destroy everything outside Paradise Island, what kind of ending would you want to see? Overall, it won't be a very good ending for the world of Attack on Titan, and humanity will be on the brink of extinction.